Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to show you how to make a real Captain America shield. This is a very detailed craft, so it's going to take some time and effort. But if you really want this to look good, then you gotta put in that work. We're going to be using a lot of materials here from various places. So we'll have everything listed for you in the description below. You can purchase all of these things individually, or you can buy them in bulk for cheaper. It just depends on what kind of commitment you want to make to this project. And also, depending on where you live, will determine whether or not you can get some of these materials. So if you're in America, it should be pretty easy. But if you're in the UK like me, then you might struggle a bit more to get certain things. However, there are alternatives to every single thing that we use in this project. So don't worry if you can't get your hands on one of the items. You can find another to substitute it. Right, let's jump straight into this tutorial. Okay, first off, let's get the base of the shield sorted out. This is a wooden board that we've cut to the right shape and size of the shield. You can do this with a jigsaw, or if you have access to a laser cutter, that would be ideal because it'll cut the shape out perfectly. Just make sure you sand the edges down really nicely so that there are no splinters or anything dangerous. Next up, we're going to draw around the shield. To do this, we're going to be using a projector. This was actually quite hard to find and we got ours online. If you don't have a projector, don't worry, you can still do this. All you need is a white sheet, clip it to the wall, and then using a laptop or phone, you can find a picture of Captain America's shield and just place it over the surface. That way you'll have an image to trace around. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and paint the front of the shield with black puff paint. This stuff is great because it dries to a raised finish, so it gives the illusion of depth. You don't want to paint too thick though, otherwise it'll be too raised and ruin the effect. Okay, while the paint is drying, let's move on to the next step. We're going to do the same technique on the back of the shield. However, this time we're using red puff paint. Also, if you want to skip all this painting and you just want to you can find a link in the description to download a high-quality version of the Captain America logo. All you would need to do then is print that out, cut it out, and stick it to the front of the shield, and then carefully carve away the design. This method does work, but we found that painting the logo turned out better for us. Okay. Now both of the paints should be dry, so let's move on to adding the glitter. For this, we're going to be using a special material called mirror foam. This stuff is basically foam sheets covered in a reflective material. It looks so cool and it's perfect for cosplay props and things like that. You can get it in different colors, but today we're going with silver. This is completely optional, but we think it looks awesome. Alright, now draw around the shield logo onto the mirror foam using a scalpel and a ruler. Alright, now we're going to cut around the logo, leaving a small gap all around it. This will allow us to attach the mirror foam to the wooden board without it being seen. Also, this means that you don't have to worry about cutting the exact shape because when you glue it down, it'll give you that perfect edge. Alright, now we're ready to start gluing. The best glue for this project is E6000. It's an extremely strong glue, and once it's dry, it's waterproof and heat. You will need a foam brush to apply the glue, so make sure you buy it with the brush included. This will make things a lot easier. Okay, now we're going to run a bead of glue along the edge of the shield. Then we're going to position the mirror foam over it and press it down firmly. Make sure you wear gloves when doing this because the glue will stick to your fingers if you don't. Let's run another bead of glue around the edge of the shield. Then we're going to press the two sides together firmly and leave it to dry. This part is quite fiddly, so make sure you're patient and take your time. Okay, now let's move on to attaching the logo. First, we're going to draw around the logo on the shield again. Then we're going to measure 3 mm in from the line and marked it all the way around. This 3 mm gap will allow us to attach the logo without it being seen. We're going to run a bead of glue around the inside of the gap. Then we're going to position the logo over it and press it down firmly. Again, make sure you take your time with this because you don't want to mess it up. Let's run another bead of glue around the gap. Then we're going to press the two sides together firmly and leave it to dry. Okay, now we're ready to attach the second half of the shield. You'll notice that there is a gap between the two halves here. Don't worry, this is normal. The easiest way to fill this gap is to use plasticine. Just mold it into a ball and press it into the gap until it is flush with the surface. Once you've done this, you can either leave it like this or you can smooth it over with a tool like we did. Just remember to wash your hands before and after handling the plasticine. Now we're going to leave the glue to dry for 24 hours. Once it's dry, we remove any excess plasticine, and then we sand the entire surface of the shield to make it smooth. This is really important. Make sure you sand it smooth, because otherwise the paint won't go on properly. Alright, now we're going to give the shield a coat of primer. This will help the paint adhere to the surface, and it will make the paint job look much smoother. Alright, now we're ready to paint the details onto the shield. For this, we're going to be using acrylic paints. Now this part is really fun, so let's jump straight into it. First off, we're going to add some white paint to the center circle. Then we're going to add some red paint to the top and bottom stripes. Next, we're going to add some blue paint to the side stripes. Then we're going to add some yellow paint to the center star. And finally, we're going to add some light blue paint to the outer star. Take your time with this and be careful. If you make a mistake, you can always go over it with some white paint to cover it up. Alright, now we're going to leave the paint to dry for 24 hours. Once it's dry, we're going to add a gloss varnish to the entire surface. This will protect the paint job and make it look shiny like the real shield. And that's it. Our Captain America shield is complete. We think it looks awesome and we hope you like it too. If you made a version of this, then please send us a picture, because we would love to see it. Also, if you're wondering what happened to the other half of the shield, well, we're going to be making a full tutorial on how to make a Captain America helmet, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.